This one is not going to be boring. I'll tell you that. Hey, Tom.
Hey, Brian.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing great,
I'm going to turn
thanks.
off Elton John. I had Elton John for you.
What's wrong with Elton John?
It's distracting. Like, I mean, it's cool. There's nothing wrong with Elton John. I just thought
Well, we
we'd want to hear you, not Elton.
fine.
He's not a chocolatier.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, you got a customer. Do you got to take that, or you got somebody else taking care of that for you today?
We have one. That's okay. Then we're going to lower that so as not to bother us, but we're fine. It's a nice sound to hear.
It is a good sound. Well, it's the better sound is a cash register ringing, right?
Can't even hear that anymore with these fancy cash registers, but you're right.
Like
You're gone. Oh, are you back? I can't hear him. Are you
Can you hear
back?
me? Am I
Now?
back now? Yeah. So like we've only been doing this for like 6 months, and now like Apple did this whole new operating system, and like the earbuds like they change because we both hooked up to the. Anyway, I won't bore you with that. But anyway, so I'm at the butcher today, right? And I go to buy like my meat, and like
I'm
he's like,
listening.
you already paid for it. I'm like, what do you mean I already paid for it? He's like, you pre-ordered. We have your credit card number. You're good. You can leave. I'm like, oh, okay, great, thanks.
Yeah, that's what's going on today. But all this new technology, I'm not even sure that the web is here to stay. That's where I'm at. So.
I mean, you believe in temperers, though. Like temperers are like an essential, right? We're not like getting rid of temperers
Yes,
anytime soon.
yeah, I've definitely moved past tempering on the table.
I was going to say when you started, you probably tempered in a pot over a coal fire.
That's I. You're not that far off. I tempered over a pot that your founder made for me.
So anyway, Tom, we were talking yesterday. I mean, everybody knows like I do a little pre-interview and we put a little bit of that online. We've known each other. I figured it out. It's been almost 15 years.
Yeah, that's just about right. We
And
met in Philly or at the.
we met in Atlantic City at the
That's right,
Atlantic City Convention Center the first year that the Philadelphia Candy Show moved out of Philadelphia.
Philadelphia. Yeah, that's very true. I can remember that. Of course, the show has slowly been and steadily having some problems. Hopefully, it's going to come back. Was a good show. It was very helpful for a while.
Cool. So we've known each other 15 years, but
Right.
I mean, realistically, how long have you been in the chocolate world?
Well,
I'm
it's
hoping you're not going to say
I
16.
know what you're saying. I figured out, or at least my son-in-law Justin figured out, it's been about 50 years, 50. So I've been doing this for a long
Since you were
time,
3.
since I was about 3.5. And as I've told you, I started at the bottom of the pyramid making fudge. So that's and worked my
Carnivals, circuses.
circus. That's about right. Fairs, yeah. But it's been a lot of fun coming along the way.
But in
Whatever.
all seriousness, I mean, okay, what were you doing before that? I mean, how did you end up like, I'm going to open a
No,
fudge business at the county fair?
well, it didn't work quite that way. I was still in school. I was up in Buffalo, and I was still in school.
Where'd
And
you go to school?
the University of Buffalo. It was actually the University of Buffalo at the time. It wasn't the state system. So
Right.
I predated the state system just by a little. And it's going to be teaching. Did I hear you say you got a degree in political science?
I have a degree in political science. You want fries with that? 535. Please drive around to the second window.
Exactly. Likewise.
Or no, hey, I've got a degree in political science. Please come to my fudge stand at the Erie County Fair.
About right. No, I had seen. I've always had this entrepreneurial spirit. I always wanted to do something, even when I thought I was going to be teaching, and I started that. But I would go to Niagara Falls, which you're very familiar with, and I would see these
One
fudge
of the
shops.
7 wonders of the world.
That's true. Well, the way they were doing fudge was even a bigger wonder. So I said I like that concept of making fudge right in front of you. You know, the smell would draw you in. So I talked my way into the Erie County Fair, which is a pretty big fair. Never having been to a fair in my life, but I knew what was going on. I talked my way into the Erie County Fair, had no idea how to make fudge, but we had a few months to figure it out and to put the whole thing together.
Where was home?
Home was actually Amherst, Edwardsville at the time.
No, but where was home? Did you come to Buffalo to go to school, or were you from the Buffalo area?
Well, I came from Arizona. I
Got it.
grew up outside of Princeton till a very tender young age, and my family moved to Arizona. So I came to Buffalo after Arizona State. I went to ASU and then came up there, and it was so that the fudge business turned out to be, even though I cringe at the stuff we probably sold at the time, turned out to be pretty lucrative, and I moved on from there. Decided, well, this may not be a bad way to make some money. And it was, well, of course, backtracking a little, I was very lucky because I knew nothing about it. And there was a gentleman called Paul Elzinghorst, who you know of.
Had a son who had a son named Tom.
Who has a son named Tom.
And a son named Eric.
Correct. And I went, they were down on Broadway in Buffalo. I went there, and he really became a mentor to get me started with everything. Fashioned a portable candy stove to make fudge with. And it was great. So my association goes back a long, long ways with all of you. And that's the real genesis of how it happened. And then I kind of moved on from there.
But not here. I mean, you're not in Western New York. Like, you left Western New York and you went back to
not so fast. Then I said, this is a great idea. I talked my way into, I don't think there's a Sattlers there anymore, but it's Boulevard Mall, and which is a large regional mall up there. And
still here?
Yeah.
It's probably not as rocking and bopping as it was in 1971, though.
Of course, I'm sure not. But I talked my way into going right in the middle of the mall, making making fudge. And when I think about it now, there was in the middle of the mall, and I had a live propane tank. I'm not even sure I had a fire extinguisher. I'd be in jail today if I did that.
Was there a hand washing station, or did you have to go to the bathroom?
You actually had. Well, I was sponsored by the big department store. You did have to go into the bathroom with their utility room, but that worked well. I was supposed to stay during the holidays, and they kept me on for a while, so that was good. And then I graduated. Then I didn't get tired of it all, but it was time to leave the greater Buffalo area. And I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but I came back down to the Princeton area, where we saw a advertisement by Princeton University. They were creating some retail space at one end of town, and went over to see what was going on. And they loved the idea of me opening a chocolate shop there. And that was the reason I went there. And indeed, we opened a chocolate shop with the idea. I had a Hilliard melter at the time, or a tempering unit, put it right in the window, and started making product, not knowing very much about what I was doing. But I've never let the fact that I didn't know what I was doing stop me from doing it. So and that worked well. And as I went along,
including right now.
But say it again.
Including right now and using Instagram.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's no point worried about that.
Absolutely. But it was that was a great start. And we did. I went into chocolates.
What was the name of that shop?
That is called Thomas Sweet. Thomas.
So Sweet. That is Thomas Sweets. And there was another Thomas, right? I mean, you weren't the only Tom.
Another Tom that actually grew up in my family, and it was my sister that gave it the name Thomas Sweet. And we opened up. It was great. We opened up a chocolate shop in January. We just missed Christmas. And
at least you had Valentine's Day.
Well, absolutely. And it actually took off very well because there was nothing like it in Princeton.
When
And
is this? Like 1973, 74, something like that?
this would have been about 1978 or 9, 78 maybe.
So
There
you
was,
played the fudge. So you played the fudge game longer than you want to admit. Like
I,
you were in the fudge business for like 6 or 7 years.
well, because it was really a summer business, and so and it was back then it was a cash cow. um, couldn't do that today, I'm sure. But so the chocolate shop opened a great success. Slowly started learning some other chocolates. My After I struggled to figure out how to make some chocolates, my grandmother says to me, "How come you haven't gotten a hold of my nephew Allie?" And I had no idea what she was talking about. And it did turn out that her nephew would be my second or third cousin, had a very famous chocolate shop in New York City called Schwartz's Out of This World Chocolate. A lot of, they were in the Neiman Marcus catalog there. And I looked at her like, now you tell me. So we did go down there.
He would have scoffed at you about the fudge. He would have just been like, "Go
Well,
away, go away, fudge boy, go away."
well, he was a little helpful, I have to say. And that was the beginning of course Thomas Sweet. And then if you really want to hear the rest of it, and then I can move on more to chocolates. About half a year later, my landlord, the university, came to us and said, see, there was a store right next to us that was,
By the way, that is the #1 university in America
I saw that, by the way.
for like the third time in a row.
I was there so long, I feel like I actually graduated from Princeton. But be that
Yeah,
as,
hey, speaking of that, did you ever graduate from UB?
oh, yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I was just making sure. I
68,
didn't, no
69.
insult.
Yeah. Well, or they threw me out, I'm not sure. Yeah, just before they built that middle campus and became part of the state system, as a matter of fact. But so so Princeton came to us and said, we want to open these retail shops to make the students a little more interested in staying in town. Because Princeton was very sleepy at the time. Said, "Why don't you open an ice cream store?" And both the other Tom and I literally looked at him and said, "That's a great idea." But we didn't know it. Never made any ice cream. Didn't know a damn thing about ice cream.
You didn't know anything about fudge.
Well, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So but I said, "That's a great idea, but we spent all our money opening the chocolate shop. What do you want me to do?" And it's really an interesting series of events. There was going to be a franchised bakery in the space, but I, to this day, don't know exactly what happened. But they walked out on the lease mid-construction, left a number of pieces of equipment still crated, and the university says, "Take that stuff, sell it back, and use that money to open your store." And then we used a credit card for the rest of it. It was great. And the whole idea being we're going to make ice cream. I mean, we didn't just want to open an ice cream store. And found a great small dairy about an hour outside of Princeton that may or may not still be there. They made ice cream mix. They were great. They had an ice cream lab there, taught us how to make ice cream, and that's how that started. And that went on for 35 years. We opened a number of stores. Still is a very, knock on whatever, successful business in Princeton and beyond.
Just not your business.
No longer my business. I think 2006, after 35 years of worrying about freezers and the like, and having a lot of young kids scooping ice cream, we said that was enough.
I think actually that I tell the story about when we met, and we met in January. Yeah. I think it was January of that fall. Whatever you sold, whatever you got out, I think that was when you were looking for your new adventure.
That's exactly right. And my daughter was
who's watching, by the way. She said hi to both of us a little bit ago. Yeah, she was there. So, and I didn't say hi back because I was entranced by your story.
really that exciting. Well, she was living in Philly and at the University of Pennsylvania doing some, I guess, some graduate work and working at the Museum of Anthropology, and said, why don't you open a chocolate cafe in Philadelphia? And we had gone, when she graduated from college, I took her for a trip to Europe, and we were fascinated by some of the, little chocolate cafes we saw in Paris and in Barcelona. And so I said, gee, that's a good idea. And that's just what we did. I ended up opening a chocolate cafe in Philly, where it was a full cafe, knew nothing about that, and a chocolate shop. And I also wanted to up my game for, I wanted to, how can I put this nicely? I wanted to leave Merkins behind and move on to better chocolates, better everything. And
Remind me, that was Chestnut. It was 16th and Chestnut?
You're close.
16th and Walnut?
No, it was Walnut and Juniper, which is right off of 14th. Great location, a beautiful physical store we opened. Actually, Sarah designed it. Everyone commented on how beautiful the store was, and I was psyched to do a lot of chocolates, and I wanted to move up in the chocolate world. That's when I came back to Tomrick, and was introduced to my first sell-me machine, which I instantly fell in love with, and really started teaching again myself how to do nice bonbons, which is what we did in Philly. It was great. It was a lot of fun for about 6 years. Then it started to drag on, but
we won't get into the bad part of the story. How's that? So
yes, but
and then at somewhere along the way, though, you re-energized yourself one more time, and you recreated yourself again in in Pennsylvania.
Well, I had moved to New Hope, Pennsylvania, and probably in about '76 or so, and I love that area. And after I left Naked Chocolate Cafe in Philadelphia, we were doing that for 6 years. I really wasn't ready to hang it up and not do anything, and I ended up just coincidence. There was a chocolate shop in New Hope that's been there at the time for probably 30 some years, but a very, very old, very old school, but very nice. And I ended up very traditional. I ended up
traditional American chocolatier.
That's exactly right. I did leave out when we opened Naked Chocolate and trying to step up from Merkins and the like. That's when I met Eric Case. I'm trying to figure out how it happened through guitar, and then Eric was just a great help in getting some really interesting things going, as you very well know. Mm-hmm. A crazy person, but with wonderful ideas. And when I went and bought this shop in New Hope, and it's called Pierre's Chocolates, which was maybe about 10 years ago, had a great business, but it was time to up the ante there. And the other good thing that came out of Philly was my son-in-law, Justin. That's where Sarah had met Justin, who has gotten very involved in the business at the time, and obviously, number one, loves the chocolate business. Really,
Tom. Number one, loves your daughter. Number one, he loves your daughter. Number two, he loves the chocolate business.
I'm not sure that way, but probably you're right. And that's been great. And Justin's been in the business in New Hope, and we actually it wasn't easy taking that from an old school store to something where we're really introducing very fine chocolates to them. And
I got a question about Pierre's. Are all the stuffed animals finally gone?
Yes, every goddamn one of them.
like the first time I walked in when Pierre was a great guy. I mean, Pierre
Oh, he was
had a ton.
a wonderful
He,
guy.
he's forgotten more about chocolate than I'll ever know. I mean, he was
Yeah,
one of those guys, right? And I think it was time for him to move on, right? But
yeah.
like I walked in and it was like there was stuff everywhere you looked. There
Oh,
were like
that,
bears
that,
and rabbits and like
you know what? It
stuff.
worked. It absolutely worked for them. And we took over the store, and Pierre, you know, for 30 some years, even though I lived in Philly, I knew Pierre just very casually because I'd see him at the show or once in a while run him into town. In town. So I had no idea, but he was great. We had a great time. The agreement was, because they were ready to move on, that he was going to stay with me. I took over in September, and he was going to stay with us through all the holidays, which I really wanted as a transition for his customers. Luckily, it was a win-win because he really didn't have to do very much. We picked up on a lot of the stuff he was doing, and obviously kept a lot of his still his recipes. And to this day, even though we changed the look of things, we kept a lot of his stuff. And we had a great time together. And I'm still in touch with Pierre all the time, and his wife, Jenny. They're down in Florida living the dream, I guess. I don't know. We send
Are
them.
you moving to Florida anytime soon, Tom?
You won't run into me in Florida. Thank you.
Got it.
I don't think so.
And then recently the new inclusion of the Tom Block story is a
Yeah.
re-energizing of Naked
Yes,
Chocolate.
chocolate. We never, when I left Philly, kept the name Naked. We ran into a bad partnership there which I never had done before, but we thought we'd be able to grow a little bit faster this way. Just didn't turn out right. So I extracted myself, but kept the name Naked Chocolate, as was a name that I owned. And I know Justin was always chomping at the bit to go back and do that concept without the cafe. And we found a good friend of us ours in Philly, became a partner with us at Naked Chocolate, and about, I don't know, a year and a half ago, I lose track of time, we opened the store. I don't think you've been there, have you, Brian?
I have not been there yet. I've been in Pierre, and I haven't been in Pierre. Full disclosure, I haven't been in Pierre since like you got rid of the stuffed animals.
We moved him here. We got him a Naked Chocolate. But this is an entirely different concept. We've really, just really the fine bonbons and everything is very, very upscaled here in terms of the products we're using. And it's also been a great experience. And this, we were off to a roaring start. We had a great Christmas. We had a great Valentine's. And then, boom, COVID hit. And so we're just bringing this store back to life again. But
and there was at least one customer today, and I haven't heard them leave yet. I didn't hear the ding of them walking back out the door. So
they may have gone out the back door. I don't know. But it's
all right.
It's been a good experience here.
So I'm going to loop back to your story in a second because I have a couple questions. But we have a question that somebody asked, and I can't see, but I can read the question. It's like, how to deal with chocolate when it's too hot at your place. And I don't know if that's like for you or for me or for both of us. Like my answer is get air conditioning.
Yeah, in fact, we just put another air conditioner in, so we're nice and cool.
So that might be directed at you. That might have been directed at you specifically. Like that you need to put. It might have been your AC guy asking the question about what to do.
We just installed more air conditioning at Pierre's, and it's actually back in our production room, and it's helping. That's been a struggle back there, but we push out a lot of chocolate at Pierre's. So
the stuffed animals insulated it and kept it cool.
Don't get fixated on the stuffed animals, but they are gone.
So I want to go back to Thomas Sweets.
Yes,
I want to go back to Thomas Sweets
because
and I've never been to a Thomas Sweets. Well, I don't think that's true. I think I have been to a Thomas Sweets, but I didn't know you at the. in Princeton. I'm sure I've been, because we all know I'm a Philly kid too, right?
It's
So there's a Ben and Jerry's story somewhere in the middle of the whole Thomas Sweets thing, and I don't really remember about how it kind of goes down, but you want to tell us about it?
I don't know if it's there. There's actually, if you're asking, the
Or is it a
story.
Haagen-Dazs story? Is it
There's
a
the story.
Frusion, Glasen,
The,
Hagen, Besen, Dickens, Dasen, Zigen
well,
story?
I can tell. The story starts as a Haagen-Dazs story, because um, the daughter of Reuben Mattis Reuben and Rose Mattis started the Haagen-Dazs company. This was their idea, brilliant idea, and their daughter Doris basically started all the dipping stores. And I met Doris, and her husband would come and visit in New Hope. They came to New Hope and came to Princeton, and we just got to be very friendly. And they
Ice cream compatriots. You were both in the ice cream business.
exactly. Of course, as with the chocolate, I met them after I struggled to figure out how to make ice cream. But it was, but they became great friends. They sold the Haagen-Dazs business of you. I mean, obviously, they opened Haagen-Dazs a little earlier than I opened my stores, but they sold Haagen-Dazs to Pillsbury at, I don't know, sometime in the late 80s. And the check cleared and they were doing fine, I'm sure. But we always stayed in touch. And if you really want to know the nitty-gritty of the story, what happened was Reuben, who is the patriot of the Haagen-Dazs story, was on the board of directors at Haagen-Dazs, basically because he just wanted to get out of the house and go somewhere every day. So he was there, and Pillsbury sold Haagen-Dazs to a company called Grand Metropolitan out of a much larger conglomerate out of Great Britain. They sent Reuben basically a letter saying his services were no longer required and there were no further restrictions on what he could do. So he got very pissed off at them, told his daughter he wanted to go back into the ice cream business. And this was at the very same time that the FDA changed the branding of ice cream. You could now, there was never such a thing as low fat and no fat ice cream. It had to be ice milk. But now you could call it low fat and no fat ice cream. So he told his daughter, go figure out how to make a no fat ice cream as good as Haagen-Dazs. So they called me and they said they want to go into business and they'd like to go into business with me and the other Tom making, trying to do this. So that's how we got involved. It was a company called Mattis Ice Cream, which was Reuben's last name. And stayed very involved with it with a number of years. It was actually through them. Well, I had met. I can't even remember how I had met Jerry. I never knew Ben. I had met Jerry while we were, growing Thomas Sweet. I had met Ben. This part of it when we were sitting Shiva for Reuben, and Ben and Jerry both came over, and that's of course, and we all traded good ice cream stories. Of course, they went on to greater heights in the ice cream business than I did, but I can't complain. Got me being at Thomas Sweet was a great 30-year run. It was enough, or 35-year run. Got me all the toys I wanted, and it was time to get out. That's sort of the Ben and Jerry Haagen-Dazs story, if you must know. But I've always enjoyed, even when we were at Thomas Sweet and we had opened a number of stores, I always stayed much more interested in the chocolate end of it than the ice cream end of it. The other Tom spent more time on the ice cream end of it.
Okay, but because we're ice cream, I love ice cream, Tom. Like
Well,
we're talking ice cream, so I want to talk ice cream for a minute because I know
I,
it's chocolatier chat, but we're gonna convert it for just a couple of minutes. Sugar cone or cake cone?
Sugar cone.
Good man. I
No,
accept that I get less ice cream because the cone is superior.
exactly. But if you know
What
how to scoop it properly, you can get a good foot in the sugar cone. Definitely a sugar cone, though.
What's your favorite ice cream? What like you get one? Are you a multi-flavor on your cone, or do you get one flavor?
You can get two flavors.
What do you get though?
Um, Actually, I'm pretty boring. My favorite flavor was chocolate. Chocolate and butter pecan, if you have to know.
I did have to know. That's why I asked the question, Tom.
I
This is
mean,
how this works. I ask questions because I want to know the answer, not because like I don't want to know the answer.
fine.
Butter pecan.
We of course made about 30 flavors and created some great flavors. That was the time when all these great flavors, starting with flavors like Oreos and cream, which we did not create, we quickly copied from someone,
Good
and
man.
it was great.
I'm a
What else?
strawberry guy.
We
Strawberry.
You like
Strawberry ice cream. And
yeah, we like
pistachio.
strawberry ice cream,
And
and then
pistachio.
well, well, we had a problem with pistachio because we kept it all natural, and so it was not a green pistachio, but it was great. And then at Thomas Sweet, we developed we started with a concept that we called blend-ins. It was basically a mechanical take on. I don't know if you remember Steve's ice cream. Steve was really kind of the father of these upscale ice, college town ice cream stores, and he had I think Cold Stone Creamery does it now. They had a big marble table, and you get a few scoops of ice cream, and you chop in fruits or whatever.
Sounds like you should have trademarked that one, Tom. That one, you trademarked that one. That would have been the moneymaker.
Did trademark it. So we went on. We found a machine that would actually do this mechanically, and we actually did trademark it. It's called blend-ins. They're blend-ins, and they were by far the most popular thing that we had at most Thomas Sweet stores. I still prefer the scoop of ice cream, but they were very, very good and very popular. And you mentioned strawberry, which is what reminded me. You take the vanilla ice cream and put in a scoop of fresh strawberries. It was delicious. You couldn't do better. Now I'm hungry. Okay.
You're gonna have to go for ice cream. So
I
okay,
have to,
so we've determined there's 50 years of chocolatiering in here
yes,
with a little ice cream break.
well, with a lot of ice cream break, but
I
okay.
mean, I know that there's been hundreds of recipes created through the years, right? All of which couldn't have been winners. So what's the one that you were sure was going to be a winner, and when you put it on the counter, people were like, "I'm not eating that."
Wait, are you
This
talking
is
about ice cream?
no, I'm
Or
talking about chocolate. We're going back to chocolate.
chocolate?
We had our little ice cream break, and now I want ice cream too. Now we're going back to chocolate because that's why people are here.
Yes, I understand that. Well, now I've got to give that some thought because we made, I think we've done some combinations of flavors that probably never made it. But I would have to say that you've got me on the spot that I can't think of anything that really didn't move.
Oh,
Uh, we, yeah,
everything he
I'm sure
touches
it
turns to
was.
gold, peeps.
I'm sure.
Everything is gold. Everything is golden. Everything Tom Block touches is like
Well, I don't
delicious.
go that far, but once I learned how to use cocoa butters, then everything was gold. So,
Hey, so what's in the case right now that you'll grab one whenever you walk by? Like, there's got to be a piece in the case that's your favorite.
there is a piece in the case that's my favorite, but again, I'm pretty boring about that. I just like a really good piece of dark chocolate or a good piece of dark chocolate with almonds in it. That's pistachio. We make a pistachio cherry cluster with our 72% dark chocolate. That's what I could eat. I mean, all the fancy bonbons, which obviously very appealing to most people, and we do a great job with them. I would overlook that for a really good piece of chocolate, even though we use good chocolate in the bonbons.
So you're a dark guy. I was going to ask you dark or milk, but you kind of answered that one.
I went from milk to dark, but now I am swinging back a little to some milk because there's some really good milk chocolates.
Or do you
You know,
think it's your age?
say that again.
Or do you think it's your age? Is that why you swung
Third,
back to milk? Like, it needs
third.
to be sweeter for you?
No, because I never liked sweet. I just I like we have a 41% dark chocolate, which is great. You know, it's that I long ago left Nestle's and Hershey's, so it's okay. But
Got
the
it. So
yeah,
I know this. Not everybody knows this. You have a little car problem.
oh jeez, I did have a little car problem, but luckily,
I mean,
um,
okay, let's define this. How many cars do you currently own?
I am down to a svelte 5 or 6 cars.
Okay, I'm with you, Tom. I'll agree that you don't think that's a car problem, but I bet you other people still feel that might be a scooch of a car problem.
Well, you know, my the success of Thomas Sweet fed my car problem for quite a while, and you know, as I know you're alluding to, I did end up with 4 Ferraris, but they got too expensive to keep on the road. So now I'm into big old Cadillacs and old Mercedes, but I still love them. And
What did you drive to work today? What actually, when I talked to you yesterday, what were you in?
Yesterday I was actually in a 70 Cadillac convertible, which we could have conducted this whole interview in. It's fairly large. And since you're asking, today I'm in the hell was I in? A 560 SEC 87 Mercedes. Very cool car. But when I really need to get somewhere, I go in my Hyundai Santa Fe, except it had a flat tire yesterday.
I was going to say, I think when you came up here last time, you were in the Hyundai.
Well, right. That's when we want to make sure we get there. That's what we drive. So, but it was, yeah, cars have always been a weakness of mine. Unfortunately, I'm not terribly mechanically inclined. So whenever I try to figure, oh, I could do this, I could do that, I usually end up screwing it and making it worse. So, uh, but it's still a lot of fun. I do enjoy the cars. If you mention,
I'm, I was just curious, Tom.
yes, yeah,
I heard from somebody, a guy told me about a thing and about a stuff that
I have
you
no
were a
idea.
car guy.
I've kept
It
it
might have
very
been Justin. It might have been
that
Sarah. I don't know. One of
that
them might have mentioned it.
I've
Is
calmed.
it,
Believe me, I've calmed down.
is there a day without chocolate? I mean, is there a day, do you see a day that like the business is going to,
Oh,
Sarah and Justin, or it's theirs and you don't have to, you're not going to come in?
um, that's a fair question. I don't see that day coming up too soon because I actually still love doing this. I couldn't picture myself sitting home and clipping coupons if I had any to clip. And Justin has basically come into the business and runs me around anyway. So what can I do? So I really do.
But you're still making chocolate I mean,
Oh,
you physically,
I,
I was joking with Justin about this the other day that, you know, that funnel that was in an Instagram picture was your funnel, right?
that
I mean, it wasn't Justin's funnel.
my two favorite pieces of equipment are the sell me and the drop funnel. And I still use the drop funnel almost every day. I love molding things too, so I do have a lot of fun doing that. Justin has really taken to making some of the great ganaches we have now, and you know we've taught ourselves the guitar because I'd never had a guitar that we got from you guys a couple of years ago, and it's been great. We finally figured that all out. So it's a lot of fun doing that stuff for me, and I still want to do it. I could still get around. I'm not limping yet, so it's okay.
Are there
Yes.
more naked chocolate cafes or is this the last one? I mean,
Well, there could
global
be
domination.
global domination might be a little strong, maybe regional domination. No, the naked chocolate, and which I did fail to mention. One of the things we became really well known for in Philly was our hot chocolate. We make a European style hot chocolate from scratch, which for I think 3 years in a row when Philly Magazine was doing it, we were Best of Philly, and we've brought that here to our store in Newtown. And are there more naked chocolates in the works? Well, there certainly could be. Not right away, but there certainly could be, because I think we're constantly improving this, and learning from a lot of people, learning from a lot of the people that you have on your chocolate tier chats.
Right. Well, I mean, you guys are using predominantly Republica de Cacao chocolate right now,
yeah,
right?
I would say
So mostly.
some hard, predominantly Republica de Cacao, some Valrhona. Here, at Naked Chocolate, we're using basically all Republica and some Valrhona, some Falkland. We're bringing a couple other things in.
You guys have stepped up since the fudge business, is what you're telling me.
I've tried, yes. I like to think so. I like to think.
Incremental steps, baby steps.
Baby steps. Well, we're there. We're it's worked out quite well for us, and we get great reception whatever stores we're in. The people really seem to like it, and in New Hope it was a teaching moment, trying to teach the Pierre's customer, of which there were plenty, to move up to to step it up a little bit. And we also felt we want to bring in new, younger customers. This has all happened. It's been great. And, it's through, obviously, the products that we do and the lack of stuffed animals, if you really want to know. Well, I thought about dipping you, that we couldn't end up selling.
Got it. Hey, so somebody, it looked like Bob once says, I'm sure you remember Good Nose Dairy in New Hope.
Of course. Good Nose Dairy in Newtown.
In Newtown, sorry.
Cleansers in New Hope, Good Nose in Newtown. Yeah, we're basically, our store in Newtown is on the property that used to be Good Nose Dairy. They basically moved to a much smaller space. They're somewhere in Newtown, but of course I remember it. They had a dairy bar, they had a restaurant. It was great.
Got it. Well, I got to come down and visit at some point when I'm allowed to go places again. When I'm not, stuck in my office in the house, we'll come and visit. We'll hang out.
You have to do that. We go on pizza trips too. If you're a pizza aficionado.
I do like a good slice of pizza.
Yes, we know. Eric Case and Chris Elbow has been known to come and show us around some good pizza places.
See, how do you like travel in that rarefied air? You travel in that little that little chocolate cult group that I'm on the outside of.
Getting in, it wasn't easy getting in. I'm not sure I'm still there, but when I see the the people that you've had on these chats, I figured that's good company to be in. I'm not sure if you really.
I'm an outsider though. I'm an outsider on that Eric Case and I've known Eric now. I was trying to figure this out. I bet you I've known Eric 20 years.
Okay.
Right? When he was working for, way back,
Yeah.
Right when he got to Guitar. He's making, by the way, he's putting emojis and funny faces up on the screen right now. But and I'll see him at trade shows and stuff, and he'll kind of wave from afar, I'm sitting here, I'm holding court, I've got my peeps here. You're not welcome to sit down by the fire, Brian. I'm sorry, Brian, but you got to step aside, my friend. Step aside.
You know what? I think Justin was right. He wanted me to wear one of my Panama hats just for Eric, but I guess I'm not. He was been a tremendous help. I met him. If you met him 20 years ago, maybe I met him. Well, must have been 06 or 07. So however long that is, and I know we met for the first time in New York to talk about chocolate, and it's been great. Yeah.
No, but I don't want to he's watching, and I don't want to inflate his ego too much.
Right.
But Eric is one of those people, right? That I think he is like, we talk about passion in our business, right? And like you're incredibly passionate about what you do, Tom. And like Eric's one of those people that is just passionate about chocolate and about people getting better with chocolate,
Oh,
right? And everything he does, whether it's, is about that, is about putting people together and finding ways to make our industry better, and I think so
he,
I can joke with him about it, but I mean, like,
no, it's true. I mean, he's pushed me up ultimately many levels, and it was really great working with him when we first opened Naked, and then through him, remember, like you, I wasn't on any of the Ecuador trips. He took Justin on the trip, but that was so eye-opening for us, and really brought us into the world of Republica, and it's been great. But yeah, no, we've been lucky to know and be mentored by some of these people. We had Chef Nader in our store about, well, it was before COVID, so I don't know when it was, helping us out, learning some. This is how we learn. I'm self-taught. Justin's essentially self-taught, and
well, it was taught by you, which, who
well,
knows, like, how good that's going to be, right?
well, that's shaky, but and I never could make one of those things that's behind you. I always tried to.
I didn't make that one either, though. You could do that guy, I bet.
Well, wait, I don't know what you said.
Hold on. You probably could figure this one out.
Uh, oh, if he was a stuffed toy, I could, yes.
No, you could do a giant anyway. But I didn't do this one either. My assistant Beth did this one, and this is the
And
one
that,
that. And it's been, look how shiny it is. And
yeah,
Beth did this like
that's really
eight
great.
months ago.
I love big molds, so that's I could get into that. We've
It
just
looks much smaller than when it's this far away, doesn't it? It looks like
That looks pretty good sized.
if I get out of the way. But yeah, what's funny? You mentioned Awald. Awald was on earlier too, and I've known Awald 2001, something like that. I've known Awald for like 20 years, and I think people like that are Eric, Awald, Christopher, Elbow.
Yeah.
They're I got a call last night from Michael Riccuti, right? I mean, like those type of people are so infectious, right? Like they make us want to be better,
Oh,
and not just because they're so good at what they do, I think, but because they're just so passionate about what they do,
well,
right?
recruiting. In fact, Eric brought me together with recruiting when we first opened. He was doing some demos in Philly, and it was wonderful watching him. I picked up a lot of stuff from him. And Justin points out, because I never go on any of our sites, that he's actually follows a lot of the things we're doing, which is, which is just great for us to see that. But but being in Philly, I ran into a number of really, really great chocolatiers, if you will. I did see you. You had Mr. Eclat on at one point. Maybe that was a while ago when you had Chris on.
Yeah.
And met him in Philly. We had.
And he's another guy I've known for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, I think what's interesting too is that I know that you guys are all competitors too, and I know that there's places where we butt up against each other in the industry, right? But I still think that people are very willing to share and very willing to help, right? I mean, Michael was doing me a favor last night, and not something he had to do, and not something that was going to help his business, but was doing it really for me, or us. He was doing it for Tomrick, right? But it is what it is.
Early on, when I think I met Chris, I don't even know how. I know I went to his store when we opened just to see what it was. Stuff is just gorgeous. But I don't know. He must have come into Naked Chocolate, and very early on, we shared a couple of big holiday molds together. I think I had a huge Santa. He had a huge Easter rabbit, and we went back and forth for a little while until we both stopped doing that. but it was, so it's great. You're right. There are great people in the business, and really.
You had the rabbit, by the way, because the first time that I came to your shop, you and I did the rabbit, because I didn't know how to do the rabbit. And I said, how do you do that rabbit? And you said, hey, Brian, let's do one. And like, I remember us emptying out your reach in, right? Like, you're like, it's got to get in the cooler.
That's right.
Like, we're like throwing cases of crap out of the cooler, like putting it on the floor, so that you could teach me how to do a 3-foot tall rabbit, so that I would be better at my job. Like, I was there to help you, and you're like, you want to learn? Let's do the rabbit.
Let's do the rabbit. You really have to do it when it's cool out, because every once in a while I'd have to take it literally outside and roll it up and down for a little while. But those are fun. Those are fun.
Hey, so I know it's not your ballywick, but you guys have a Naked Chocolate, Anna Pierre's Instagram page. You came in from the Naked Chocolate, so if you're new to this, not you, but if you're new to Tom and Naked Chocolate, go check out their Instagram page. There's pictures of the funnel on there this week. And then Naked Chocolate, I can order online, right? I can order a chocolate shipped anywhere in the world.
Yes, it's great.
And I think that's nakedchocolate.com. Maybe
nkd.com. I'm told. NKD chocolate.
Look, Justin's there. Justin's there, like bailing you out again. Look at that.
What the hell are you going to do? I still don't think this is here to stay. Although I have to say, go on.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Tom. I interrupted
you.
you.
All I was going to say is, after the COVID hit, we're very grateful to have some, we had a great web page that actually Justin made much better at Pierre's, and we have a great page here. And, web sales, which I really didn't think was going to happen, increased quite a bit. So I guess now I have to say the web is here to stay.
Yeah, I don't think it's – though I had a conversation, this is 10, 15 years ago, I never remember, with a chocolatier from the Midwest, and at that point we were talking about what the internet's going to do for business, and this guy's like, that Facebook thing? No, I don't even have a Facebook page because that's not going to work. And it was just like the writing was already on the wall at that point, and I'm just like, you might want to find a ways to sell some chocolate online, my friend. Like, find one way, whatever it is. All right. Hey, Justin, you can say it from where you are. What's the one thing he's created that was a loser? There's got to be one.
Ooh, that's hurtful.
Can
you remember one?
Yeah, there's got to be one.
There's got to be one. I'm sure there is. We made some bad ice cream flavors. That much I know. But I don't know. What's
I mean, the thing about Pierre's, especially, is there's 200 pieces of chocolate there. I mean, we filled 4 cases, 4 levels high, and so there's something for everybody there. So even though something may not move for a certain group of people, there's always that person that comes in and says, hey, I want, what did you do away with that for, or something like that. So
all right.
You might not love it, while the majority may not love it. We have that customer that comes in, and we feel like we owe it to them to produce that. So we do.
All right, I'll take a non-answer, but you got to answer this one, Tom. Tom's got to answer this one. So you're in the 67 caddy,
yes,
and you got to put like 132 gallons of gas in it.
True.
Which you probably do every 3 days, right? So you pull into the gas station.
Okay.
You pull down the license plate. You jam the gas can. Is that where the gas can is?
Yes.
And you go inside to start scrolling off the hundreds to fill the gas up with.
Yeah, that's true.
There's a candy section there. There's all this mass market candy, and you decide you're going to buy a candy bar. What candy bar are you going to buy?
Gotta have something. It would be, if I could find it, an O. Henry. I like those. That's what I like, if I have to have one.
In 6 months of this, by the way, you're the first O. Henry.
Is that true? Well, I'm sorry. That's what.
No, I'm not. No, I think that's great. I'm not telling you that's bad.
Oh.
I'm letting you know that you didn't go Snickers, you didn't go Kit Kat, you didn't go, I can't answer that. You just went O. Henry. So thank you.
That. Yes, I'm
All
still
right.
a bad. Oh, we've made bad chocolate, but I don't know if I've made bad pieces. I don't know. I can't think of anything.
All right. Hey, Tom, this has been a lot of fun. We're running out of time, and Instagram's going to kick us off here in a couple minutes.
Oh, I didn't
But
even...
yeah, there's a time limit.
It really has gone by faster than I thought then. That's great.
Thanks, Tom. I don't know if that's an indictment of me or if that's like why you thought it was going to be so onerous. Like it was like you were concerned about me or you were concerned about the project, like what you were concerned about.
That's a great, this project of yours is a great idea. And truly, I thank you for having me on it. I know that I'm in really esteemed company with the people that you bring on.
You know, it was going to be Justin, but Justin thought that it should be you.
Yeah. Well, it could be Justin next time.
We'll loop back
have
around.
a lot to say.
We'll loop back around when we get back to Newtown, Pennsylvania. It's Justin. When we come back this way.
Yeah.
How's that?
That works.
Either way, Tom, this has been great. Honestly, next time I'm down, I will definitely come in and we'll go pizza hunting.
We have to come up your way too because you know we were wowed by that new facility.
Thanks. Hey, can I drive one of the big Cadillacs if I come down?
Come on down. I'll even put gas in it. Bring Olive. Bring the whole family.
Does it have seatbelts? Because my wife won't let me get in the car if there are no seatbelts.
Oh no, same thing. So they all have seatbelts. You can do it.
Did you have to add them extra, or are they only the lap belts? Do they only have lap belts?
These are just lap belts. I'm so sorry. We'll strap her in.
You don't have to worry about the airbags because there are no airbags.
There are no airbags, but you would, anyone that we run into would be demolished. Don't worry.
All right, Tom. Thanks a bunch, Justin. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
We'll talk soon. All right, guys. Bye.
Fair. See you soon. Bye-bye.